Today, you're going to be doing your first reading from the Cottingham Reader. This is the big anthology. This is all primary source material. So it's tough, but you can do it. Stick with it. Today, you're going to be reading a dialogue by Plato. It's called Meno. It's from a book called Meno. And in it, Plato is going to be discussing through his character of Socrates, the idea of innate knowledge. So you're going to be reading pages 3 through 7. Let's talk about this section of the book to start with. So first of all, this is the beginning of our unit of study on epistemology. Epistemology, remember, is that study of knowledge and certainty from the Greek word episteme. And some of the questions that we're going to be asking over the course of this unit is, what is the difference between mere belief and knowledge? What do we mean when we say we know something? And what is the source and what is the nature of knowledge? So this first book is introductory. This first reading is introductory in that topic of epistemology. So Plato is the author. Meno is the title. Meno is also a character. And Socrates is going to be a character as well. So Plato is going to typically write in dialogue. It's not how we are used to reading or writing, for that matter. So some of you are going to be thrown by that, but it's a dialogue. It looks like a script to a play. And his favorite protagonist is Socrates. Socrates will use Socratic method in all of these dialogues, where he will ask another character, who's typically the foil, in this case it's Meno and a slave boy, ask them a series of questions, and through that questioning, he will intend to prove his point. That's his Socratic method. In this story, Socrates and Meno are going to be discussing knowledge and the nature of knowledge and whether it's possible at all to know anything. So in the first couple pages, you're going to read Meno's claims, and then you're going to get into the rest of it, which is the bulk of it, is going to be Socrates' response to Meno's claims. Meno is going to argue this. He's going to say we cannot know anything because it's impossible to ask about things that we do not know. How can you know about something that you don't know? And we cannot arrive at new knowledge because we would never know when we knew the things that we did not know. Now, that's a mouthful, but really what he means is, how would we ever know the thing that we didn't know? And he thinks that this is pretty sound. Socrates is going to say, no, that's not actually correct. And he's going to argue that actually what we call learning is a process of recollection. We already know everything, so we are not inquiring or acquiring knowledge. It's really just a process of recollection. That's his big main claim. At the end, he makes a secondary claim, and we'll talk about this at the end of seminar as well. But he'll claim that we are better and braver and less helpless if we inquire than if we believe there is no knowing and no use seeking to know what we do not know. So we're better for asking the question, is what Socrates is going to conclude with, and we'll get there at the end. All right, his argument. He's going to use a slave boy to illustrate his argument that knowledge is innate. While you're reading this illustration, this activity that he leads the slave boy through, it's a mathematic proof. I want you to be thinking of these questions. First of all, when we get back together, you should be able to describe the interaction with the slave boy. What is going on here? What is Socrates doing? And secondly, what is he trying to prove? And how is he using this mathematical or geometric example to prove it? So think about those questions as you're reading his interactions with the slave boy. Next, once you've read, I want you to think about whether you think that Socrates has successfully defended his belief that all knowledge is recollection. Did his his geometric example with the slave boy, prove that? Are you satisfied, like Socrates seems to be, that the slave boy was actually recalling rather than learning? You should be able to explain and defend your position. And then finally, we're going to wrap up with our final C, contemplation. I want you to be thinking about these questions. What is your theory of knowledge, and how does it compare to Plato's? Remember, Plato is the author here. Socrates is just a character. What do you think about the nature of knowledge? Do you think we acquire knowledge, or do you think it is innate? Another way of thinking that question would be, do we learn truths or do we discover them? Are there different categories of knowledge? For example, might we discover mathematical truths but learn historical truths? So we might innately know some things and discover them to be true, but we might have to actually acquire knowledge in other areas like history. Okay, my recommendation as you're reading for each of these readings is to really do a good job of reading the introduction. One of the great things about this anthology is that Professor John Cottingham has written a great, concise, and complete introduction to each of these selections. So start there, read through at your own pace, make sure you're thinking about these questions, and then we will discuss when we get back together in class. All right, have fun and good luck.